Regressor of the Fallen Family, Chapter 67. Between the gates of Mars, a countless throng is visible, a vast street where people not fully grasped at a glance move organically. A whole sack of wheat at the lowest price. Rice cheaply sold by the scoop. Imperial silk available. The bustling sounds filled the air. This place was bustling with people, rivaling the trade city of Kyle, and teemed with merchants as numerous as in Harun to the central region. The noisy main road right behind the city gates seemed to showcase that this truly was the heart of the Southwest. However, more than anything else, what caught the attention of Logan and his companions was one person standing at the very front, looking their way. Among the 10 knights, bearing the armor engraved with the emblem of the Bifrost family, a rose blooming amidst flames, the knight who stood at the forefront. A middle-aged man with sparkling silver hair and eyes tinged with silver, his unique appearance complemented by a cold demeanor and pale white skin. The Knight of Moonlight, Franz? A high-grade knight came out to greet us himself. That moonlit knight in person? Being one of the 2 top-grade knights held by Bifrost and famous for his distinctive appearance, it was a person most knights could recognize at a glance. His appearance informed everyone that the Bifrost family was greatly concerned with the heir's delegation. Of course, you've come a long way, it must have been tough. Please follow me. Franz's demeanor seemed rigid, not by voluntary means, but no one raised any objection. The knights felt honored that one of the Southwest's strongest was acting as their guide. Even Fran, who had been blushing moments ago, was no different. It's an honor to meet you, Sir Fran. Pleased to meet you. Despite the cold response, Fran displayed a desperately fawning attitude, in stark contrast to when they met Logan. But Logan paid no attention to Fran's behavior, his expression slightly furrowed, welcoming 2 country bumpkins with a top-grade knight and 2 high grades. This seemed more like pressure than a courtesy, he thought. As he thought this, Logan accidentally met with the piercing gaze of those silver eyes. Ignoring the blonde head bowing continuously before him, he was caught by the intense curiosity in that gaze. Logan, too, expecting something, did not avoid that gaze, leading the owner of the silver eyes to approach him personally. If that's Ferretta, are you young Lord MacLine? Logan MacLine, Sir Franz. Remarkable. An intermediate-grade knight at such an age? Franz's offhand comment about Logan sent ripples through the surroundings. What? The young lord? Just skilled with a sword. Murmurs spread. Feeling the gazes pouring from all directions, Logan clenched his fist for a different reason. It worked. Typically from the realm of a high-grade knight upwards, there was a distinct and sharp aura that peers or those beyond could sense, impossible to hide. Having achieved the status of an high-grade knight, Force Core 3 stars, Logan could control even that subtle aura. If he intentionally concealed his aura, he could appear N-County as a commoner, a fact his father found incredibly fascinating. This was one of the main reasons he had decided to visit Bifrost alone. I can hide my strength. Realizing this could even fool another top-grade knight was enough to lift his spirits. Thank you. I'll strive to reach and surpass Sir Franz's renown in the distant future. Heh. You should aim for nothing less than extraordinary with that talent. At least a transcendent. Anyway, it's nice to meet you. The response was notably warmer than the one given to Fran. Understandably, this was followed by Fran's displeased expression and his entourage's sighs. After a slow walk through the bustling main road, the group finally entered the inner city several hours later. At the forefront of the group, Franz halted their march in front of a splendid 5-story building within the inner sanctum. Throughout their journey, the fact that Logan's entourage lacked any attendance from the Bifrost side had caused some bewilderment, but fortunately, no further troubles arose. This is the Bifrost guest house. The heirs of Percival and Luffman have already arrived, so gentlemen, please rest and wait leisurely until the party tomorrow evening. The Bifrost castle is truly impressive. I'd like to take a look around outside, if possible. Some areas within the inner sanctum might be restricted, but other places are accessible with one of our knights as an escort. Just speak to the person in charge of the guest house. Understood. With a nod, unlike when they first arrived at Bifrost, Logan responded with a smile, while Fran merely nodded his head without a word. As Franz turned around without any further reaction, I wonder if those who arrived without any attendance even brought party clothes. Fran immediately turned to Logan with a sharp tone. Of course. Where is my room? Logan, ignoring him, sought the guest house's butler. Fran clenched his teeth, and the knights around them also seemed to be angered. These fools with no understanding of the situation. They're not worth any more of my attention. If such individuals were heirs and knights, conquering Ferretta around the time of a civil war seemed not too difficult. Logan sneered, turning his back on the Ferretta party. I wonder what the Count will say. He intentionally didn't bring any party clothes. The thought of walking around without his armor in an unpredictable place, the lost land of his ancestors, was not appealing. He felt endlessly tense in such a place. The next evening, knock knock. It's time for the party. I will escort you to the banquet hall. The butler, who knocked politely, seemed a bit surprised to see Logan step out in full armor. I've never been to a party being from the countryside, said Logan. But there was nothing anyone could add to a noble who labeled himself a rural bumpkin, eventually. Introducing young Lord Logan of the MacLine family. As the butler announced and Logan entered the banquet hall, all eyes within landed on him. Oh my. What's with the armor? He mustn't know the first thing about manners, being a country bumpkin. That's a bit much. The spacious banquet hall, seemingly hundreds of pyong in size, was lavishly decorated with paintings and ornaments on its walls. A dazzling crystal chandelier hung from a high ceiling, enhancing the room's splendor. Logan, the only one clad in armor, naturally drew the attention of many. Despite the scoffs and frowns from everyone, he confidently walked through to the inner part of the hall. A middle-aged man, dressed in a fancy suit with a red rose pattern and seated on a high platform wrapped in red silk, looked down at him. Son of MacLine, Logan greets Lord Roger Bifrost, the ruler of this land. Happy birthday, Your Excellency. Although it was a polite but mundane greeting, maybe because it was coming from MacLine, the Count's previously stiff expression softened slightly, his blue eyes sparkling with a faint smile. Ah, welcome. But I heard the MacLine has been doing quite well lately. Couldn't you even prepare party clothes? The Count, not fitting the usual subdued manner of a regional lord, spoke bluntly, disregarding noble etiquette. However, Logan was unfazed. I am not accustomed to parties, and thought it best to wear what I am most comfortable in. If I have been rude, please forgive me. I was under the impression you attended quite a number of parties in the capital? Logan flinched slightly. He knows about that? Though momentarily tense, he quickly concealed his expression and presented a lavishly wrapped box from his pocket. That's why, as a birthday gift, I've brought a part of the accomplishments gained during that time. Impo-Rick, a health supplement beneficial for men. No matter how splendidly the gift was wrapped, it was common knowledge that Impo-Rick was actually meat from Karok. Especially if it involved Bifrost, who was actively participating in the purchase. It meant that it was not suitable as a birthday gift for the Count. However, the Count paid no attention to Logan's gift. Does your coming this far mean that MacLine is willing to follow my will? If Your Excellency's will is for peace, MacLine is always ready to lead the way. Is that so? Truly the thoughts of a young hero are clear. I expected resistance. The peace of our country, my man. Receiving the Count's peculiar gaze, Logan sneered inwardly. Good. Enjoy the party for a while. I will introduce you grandly in a little while. There's really no need for that. After those words, the Count began to receive greetings from others who were lined up around him. Percival, Luffman, heirs from other families who seemed to be around their 30s. They too had obviously met the Count more than once, bowing their heads with ease, and the Count, without formalities, patted their shoulders. However, among the many people, only the heirs of each territory were spoken to by the Count. It was an action that reconfirmed that the purpose of the party was not merely for socializing. This is all within my expectations, but during this short conversation, Logan had been alert and observing the Count, thereby fulfilling another purpose for coming here, even if it was not particularly pleasing. So he really is a fifth circle mage.
Sir.
His senses, sharpened and acute beyond common sense, struggled to detect the mana circle entrenched in the Count's heart initially. It felt as though some method was concealing the circle. and this gave rise to the suspicion that the rumors he had heard in his previous life were true. That Count Bifrost had shown extraordinary valor during the Civil War. In his past life, he hadn't paid much attention to the stories of the losing Second Prince's faction. A Fifth Circle mage could indeed do that. A Fifth Circle mage treated on par with a top-grade knight. Especially in a large-scale power struggle like war, it represented a formidable force, one capable of neutralizing even MacLane's only advantage. It was hidden strength of Bifrost, easier to uncover than expected, yet not easy to overlook. The gap in power is still significant. Not to mention the Count and 2 top-grade knights. What to do? As Logan furrowed his brows, lost in thought. The Count has something to say. Please, give him your attention. With a loud voice, the music stopped, and the attention of the audience focused on the main seat. Firstly, I would like to thank all the domestic and foreign dignitaries who have gathered here to celebrate my humble birthday. And it seemed there weren't many guests from outside the southwestern region, considering they were mentioned as domestic and foreign. Even though he couldn't be here in person, I express my endless gratitude and respect to the Second Prince for gracing us with the tears of the sun. Murmurs of admiration spread throughout the room. Whether the reaction was as expected, the Count continued with a leisurely smile. For a long time, the nobles of our kingdom southwest, unlike other regions, have lived apart. The situation was flowing through one of the scenarios Logan had anticipated. I won't bother to explain the complicated circumstances of the past, as everyone here is well aware. Now I believe it's time to leave behind those meaningless traditions and empty promises and unite as one. The likely next heir to the throne, His Highness the Second Prince, desires the support of our Southwest. As Logan covered his displeased expression with a wine glass, the Count suddenly raised his hand and pointed at him. Justly so. The heir to the MacLine family, the beginning and end of our Southwest dispute 200 years ago, is here with us. People around the already isolated Logan drew even further away. But then, young Lord Logan is indeed a remarkable youth. Having led MacLine to victory in the recent 2 wars, he is the main architect behind MacLane's prosperity, and a prodigy who reached the realm of an intermediate-grade knight at just 21. Even the highest-ranking knights I know couldn't achieve as much at his age. As the unexpected praise continued, people's stares shifted drastically. He is a talent comparable to the pillars of our kingdom, the aura users, and superhumans. Seeing him still in armor shows how much he focuses on training. I suspect the recent annulment issue was perhaps because of too much training as well. The awkward joke was followed by sycophantic laughter that filled the hall. I have no intention of intimidating or coercing such a talent. I merely wish to make a proposition. Young Lord Logan. Yes? His Excellency Valdermain, the Duke and maternal uncle of the Second Prince, is currently in search of talents like yourself. If you are willing, I'm considering recommending you as his disciple. What do you think? As Viscount Bifrost finished speaking, a heated tension filled the air.